Welcome to Retire Right with Rick Durkee, presented exclusively by the Coastal Financial Planning Group here on News Radio 94.3 WSC. Rick Durkee is the retirement income planning and wealth distribution specialist in the Lowcountry. Are you ready to retire right? Here's your host this morning, Shane Griffin.
And good morning. Welcome in for another edition of Retire Right with Rick Durkee. I am your host, Shane Griffin. Each and every Saturday morning here at 9 o'clock, I have the privilege of sitting down with our local retirement, income planning, and wealth distribution specialist, Rick Durkee, to help you to retire right. Good morning, sir. Good to see you.
Hey, Shane. Good morning. And, Shane, I'm sitting here listening to the music coming into the show, and here we are on talk radio. But, music has always been important to me. That particular song takes me way back to my college days, REO Speedwagon.
How about that?
Roll with the Changes. And I requested that song when we started this show up 8 years ago. I wanted to play a song that really lets people know, hey, we're coming up on a change point in life here. We're moving into retirement, a whole new world.
Yep.
We better have some things in place before we get there, though.
Absolutely.
So that's Roll with the Changes. That's the purpose of that song. It generates some thought processes for people to think about the changes that are coming up.
It's interesting that January has come and January has gone. 2016 is off to a fast start already, at least in my mind. Your thoughts?
Shane, hey, 1/12, I don't want to start this up again this year because every year this is what we've done over the last 8 years is we say, man, that was fast. We just put away the Christmas stuff and now we got to put it back out again. It's just years are going by so fast. But we want to slow them down a little bit for you folks because here it is. You are right on the verge of retirement, and this is a time when you have to make some critical decisions. So we want to make sure that you follow along with us today on today's topic. Hey, what you got lined up for us today, Shane?
Well, before I get into that, wanted to first remind that listener this morning about your upcoming college course, correct?
College course, College of Charleston, sponsored by the College of Charleston. Rejuvenate your retirement. If you are coming up on retirement or you're already in retirement, folks, this is specifically earmarked towards that person that's already in retirement. But if you're in that retirement red zone, it's a really good course for you to look at. February 2nd and 9th from 1:30 to 3:30, February 4th and 11th from 9:30 to 11:30. You pick one of those two options, either a morning class or an afternoon class. They're held on Tuesdays and Thursdays. Hey, you need more information, you got to call the college to register. Here's their number, 843-953-6684. 843-953-6684. Certainly call them. They'll get you registered up. It's $59 for the course. All proceeds go to the College of Charleston so that they can continue to provide us with these excellent facilities that they have to teach people these retirement topics that are critical for them to know. Second event that we have scheduled in February. We're hitting the ground running
That's
here.
Right. Got to.
It's time to get things rolling, get some retirement planning done. February 16th, February 18th, Ruth Chris.
Oh, boy.
Our new 2016 retirement planning seminar with a great meal included by Ruth Chris, complimentary to our Retire Right radio listeners that are retirement minded, have been listening to the shows here over the last 6 months, the last 2 weeks, the last 8 years, but they want to make a move and learn more about retirement in a workshop setting, February 16th and 18th. Can't call the restaurant, though, folks. Got to call us, 735-5065. Ask for Liz Marr. Liz is going to ask you a few questions to make sure that this information is appropriate for you.
Yep.
And we'll get you registered. Certainly, if you have a neighbor, a guest, a friend that is also retirement-minded, include them in your request, and we'll get you a table set up for February 16th or 18th. A lot of great events.
Yeah.
CFPgroup.biz is the website. You can always find it there, too.
Take a breath. A couple of other reminders. If you hear something this morning you'd like more information on, 843-735-5065, the number to call. Visit the website for not only the calendar of events, but a number of tools that you can use when thinking about retirement income planning and wealth distribution. And thirdly, if you want to listen to past programs, you can visit the website. 943WSC.com. Search the podcast page for Retire Right with Rick Durkee. All the shows are there with their titles, so you can listen to past programs free and on demand when you have the time. So, Rick, with that said, we'll jump to the topic. The topic is, what's your plan to address the rising cost of living? For just the third time since 1975, the other 2 years were 2010 and 2011, there will be no cost of living adjustment for seniors in the Social Security checks this year. On top of this, Rick, many of the nation's biggest drug and health plans are also sharply increasing their costs. It's even more expensive to shop at the grocery store now. These are discussions I'm sure you're having with current and prospective clients. It just seems like everything is more expensive.
It seems like the general rise in the cost of everything and how that affects people in retirement and their retirement income planning is one of the top topics that we talk about with people when they come in to visit us at the Coastal Financial Planning Group, Shane. Cost of living adjustments in Social Security checks in 2016 are not a happy topic.
No.
Since they weren't raised. And so we see that the importance of planning on perhaps lower benefits in the future from our government-sponsored programs, we would call it, and then also combining that with inflation, cost of goods that we purchase,
right.
Goods and services that we purchase, are an area that should be addressed when it comes to retirement income planning. And we certainly want to talk about, at any time we can address it, money slipping through the cracks.
Right.
Now, typically when we look at that, it's from a tax planning standpoint and avoiding some of the common mistakes that retirees make when it comes to tax forward planning and addressing some of their income allocation needs, where that income comes from in retirement. But a lot of times people don't pay attention to that stealth tax.
Yeah.
The tax that Congress does not have to vote on,
right.
Called inflation, and supposedly that the Federal Reserve is supposed to regulate to avoid high periods of inflation. But we all know that we're in economies that act based on a cause and effect situation,
right.
and for you and I, over at least the last 5 years, we've been talking about the programs that were put in place after the financial market meltdown, called the quantitative easing programs, and what the cause and effect of those might be,
right.
which would be inflation.
Right.
Now, we've since readdressed that issue on past episodes of Retire Right and talked about that it may not be inflation that hits first, that it will probably be a deflation and then a whipsaw, a deflationary period. And we're seeing that with the cost of oil being held as low as it is.
In the 30s.
Yep.
Per barrel.
So it's all part of the discussion that needs to be had. But the key to your planning when it comes to retirement income planning is to make sure that you say, well, let's factor in a 3% rate. If even the government figures say that it's less than that, let's go ahead and factor in 3% inflation, so as to be better safe than sorry,
right.
And then also having something in our plan that is going to give us some type of a guaranteed income that factors in that inflationary increase in your income needs.
Well, you've said it before, Rick. The good news is we're living longer, and the bad news is we're living longer. On top of the fact that just about everything is more expensive, like we just talked about, longevity also comes into play. Some people may spend 30 or more years in retirement, which to me is incredible to think about. And as a matter of fact, a married couple that makes it to 65, one of them has a 50-50 chance of getting to 90. So on top of the fact that things are getting more expensive, now longevity is a key component in retirement planning, isn't it?
It is, and those statistics are changing year in and year out, Shane, that people are just living longer. Longevity certainly is a risk multiplier. If you live longer, more things can happen to you that create risk in your retirement lifespan. So you need to talk about the effect of longevity. We also need to relate that to retirement planning's number one concern is that you have enough money to last for your lifetime and also for your spouses or significant others, and then make sure that your plan is going to have some type of inflation protection on it during that 20 to 30 year span of retirement. So, with this information, knowing about longevity plan, I think it's also appropriate right now, Shane, that is kind of a precursor to the rest of our topic today, that we talk once again about sequence of returns risk.
Sure, absolutely. Okay? Good point.
Because, if our number one concern is that our money lasts as long as we need it to, our retirement lifespan, folks, I want to address this from a standpoint of, you may be listening right now and say, I have a pension, I have a source of retirement income that's guaranteed already. You still need to look at the fact that you are going to have different periods in your retirement years where you might have to fill a gap, where you might have some money coming in that you really didn't want to take, such as your required minimum distribution from your IRA, that is an income stream.
Right.
So you want to make sure that those streams of income that are going to come in at these different points also are considering inflation.
Right.
And if the government's not going to give us any inflation protection, then we need to protect ourselves to do that. So sequence of returns risk is one of those big risks that's not being spent time on and not being looked at as serious as this problem can be. An easy illustration is to give two couples, both having the same amount of assets to retire on, both drawing the same amount out of that asset pool, both getting the same average rate of return. Here's where they differ. Couple number one has a sequence of return where they have a negative in the first year, and then it's followed by positives. They repeat that same sequence over their whole retirement lifespan. Couple number two has a positive rate of return at first, and then follows it with a negative and repeats that same sequence. Folks, I know this is radio and it's hard for you to follow me on this right now. If you want a brochure on sequence of returns risk, call us right now at 735-5065. We'll be happy to email this out to you. Here's the bottom line. The difference between couple number one that has the negative impact on their investment returns in the early years or year, their money will run out 13 years sooner than couple number two.
It's incredible.
All other variables in that math equation are the same except for the sequence of returns that those couple number one and couple number two go. And, in a math example where you're using $1 million of investable assets and you're drawing it down at 5% or $50,000 a year, 13 years means $650,000 difference for couple number one versus couple number two. It's incredible what sequence of returns risk can do. So, hey, if you're retirement minded, you have income planning that you need to do. If you are already retired, you need to review that income plan. And income planning is the key to a peaceful retirement.
Right. So for more information on sequence of returns, and this is a topic that Rick has really started to talk a lot more about over the past year or so, and really is starting to gain steam. If you'd like some more information about sequence of returns, send Rick an email, rick@cfpgroup.biz, or better yet, call the office, 843-735-5065 to get that article on sequence of returns.
Remember, sequence of returns is a risk.
Right.
Okay? And just like it's investment risk, longevity risk, it's a risk that you need to address if you're retirement minded.
Okay, so we've talked about longevity and the problems there. We've talked about how things are getting more expensive. We've talked about how the Social Security checks will not have a cost of living adjustment for 2016 for just the third time since 1975. So what is someone listening this morning to do? Well, I've come across something, Rick, that I think may help that person that's working to avoid money slipping through the cracks, as well as being able to help plan for longevity. We've talked before about the many benefits of the fixed indexed annuity. This is not a show about a product, but it's an interesting strategy. There's something out there that has a very interesting twist on the fixed indexed annuity that we'll discuss in just a moment. before we do that and get into the benefits of what this twist on the FIA is, let's talk about first and review what a fixed indexed annuity is and why someone listening this morning might have an interest in that strategy.
Okay, I want to back it up even a step past that, Shane, and I want to talk about annuities in general very quickly. Okay. First of all, they should only be used for a portion of your assets based on the risk that you want to take for your risk planning of investment risk throughout your retirement years. But secondly, from a standpoint of, are there any income streams that you want to protect? A deferred annuity will be the best way to do that versus an income annuity, which starts off paying income right away. Deferred annuities will give you the benefit of the longer you wait to ratchet that deferral of your account value or your income account value up, the bigger your payment will be. And those typically are guaranteed through what are called income riders. Now, not all income riders are created equally on all deferred annuities.
Right.
So you need to read between the lines and you need to get the details. You need to understand what your product does. Secondly, now let's talk about the types of deferred annuities. Very quickly. You have a fixed annuity. It pays an interest just like a bank product would pay. It's guaranteed by the strength and stability of the insurance company. Secondly, on the other end of the spectrum, first is fixed with safety guarantees. Right. Second is variable. Okay, a variable deferred annuity is going to vary its accumulation value based on market performance and how it's going up and down.
Right.
For some, that might be an appropriate product. For others that are retirement-minded, it may not be. Okay, unless you've added additional riders to create the guarantees that you wish on the variable annuity. Those can oftentimes be expensive to add those fees up that you're paying for those riders and also the internal costs of a variable annuity. Finally, middle of the road, you have a fixed indexed annuity, which falls between the fixed and the variable. It is built to perform and create accumulation value that grows at a rate that's competitive with and oftentimes outperforms what fixed rate products do. Okay, the fixed annuity will typically over time not outperform a fixed index annuity because the fixed index annuity offers the ability to take your assets that you invest in the product and let them mirror an index of your choosing.
Right.
Okay. Now, the good thing about that is if you went out and bought the mutual fund of that index, it would be subject to investment risk,
right,
up and down, volatility.
You could lose money.
Okay. Could lose money. Could gain money. Could lose money. The thing about the fixed index annuity is the indexes that you choose are guaranteed by the insurance company that when they go negative, you get a zero. Okay.
Zero's your hero, which you've said before in this.
So the fixed index annuity may be a more appropriate product for that person that is retirement-minded to create an income stream. Now, that's all a preface to longevity planning and income planning. You can defer a fixed indexed annuity or a variable annuity as long as you want without taking any income off of it.
Right.
But if you want to use it for income, it benefits you to let the thing defer for a while and snowball under its guarantees and then take an income under an income provision in that fixed indexed, or variable annuity called a lifetime income benefit rider or a guaranteed withdrawal benefit. Many different names, but that's what it is. It's an income planning tool with deferred annuities.
So we've set the backdrop of what a fixed indexed annuity is and also what other annuities are. Well, Rick, there's a fixed indexed annuity out there that I found that offers income with the opportunity to increase, something that I've not seen before. Are you familiar with this? Have you seen it?
Well, yes, Shane. I'm glad you bring this up. You need to look again at the details of the product, okay? And when you look at the details of this particular product, you're looking for a couple of things. You're looking for, first of all, is there an option for you to take a level payment on your guaranteed basis or the option for increasing payments? And that's the first thing that you need to look for. Okay. So you need to ask that question. Does this product have a level payment option and a increasing payment option? The second thing you need to look for is, does this particular addition to the contract called a rider, okay, an R-I-D-E-R is how that's spelled, rider, does this rider offer annual reset on it? Okay, now what's the importance of those two words, annual reset? Annual reset means that, let's give an example here. Let's say that the S&P 500 is the index of choice that you're in this fixed indexed annuity in, and let's say that the S&P 500 starts at 1,200 points, and then by the end of your contract anniversary, it's gone up to 1,300 points. Okay. That's a good situation.
Right.
Okay.
Right.
Your payment is going to go up in that contract because your contract annually reset the prior year at the prior balance. Now, where does that really come into play? What if we have an S&P 500 drop and you let's just use this example. You're in the mutual fund for the S&P 500 and SPY mutual fund or ETF, and it drops down, and so you had your value, it dropped down, and now you have to wait to get back to break even to where it was before in the past. If you're in the fixed index annuity and it has annual reset, then at your anniversary, if it's dropped down at that point, your index point value starts there for the next year coming up. Okay. So conceptually, if you can see this, Shane, what happens is now we have the opportunity to ride the index going back up.
I see.
And in that next year, when that year is completed, you can get increased payments if you chose the increasing payment options because the indexes have performed properly in a up market after a down. So annual reset, very important that you make sure that your rider on your deferred annuity has that provision. And the main reason is because once you're receiving a payout from that guaranteed lifetime income benefit rider, or whatever it might be termed by the insurance company that you're looking at, that if you want a realistic opportunity for increasing payments, then you have to have annual reset. Because what's happening is in another situation, you might be drawing money out through your income, and if that is reducing your income account value, then if performance doesn't outperform that decrease by the withdrawals, you may never see an increase in payment. So that's subject to whatever the investment performance of the annuity are. So there's a lot of different variables. People get confused with this stuff. It's even harder to discuss over the radio. What people need to really pay attention to is having a plan, not deciding today, is an annuity right for me? Is a fixed annuity right for me? Is a fixed index as a variable? Or do I need an income rider? What you need to do is sit down, do a plan, make sure that you need to schedule some income payments sometime in your life, and or that you want your risk reduced in your overall portfolio, and then decide if this product is right for you based on your plan. Proper risk analysis will tell you if that's the proper recommendation or not.
So this opportunity for someone listening this morning, this is an opportunity, a fixed indexed annuity with increased income, something that you can help them with. But again, really sitting down and going through that three-step review to look at the overall plan and the overall assets is the way to go, correct?
Yeah, Shane, it is. The plan first and then the products second that accomplish the goals of what you want and need your money to do for you.
Rick, before we end the program today, how does this income increase fixed indexed annuity help address some of the effects of inflation, the problem that we talked about earlier in the program?
Well, Shane, it would be based on hopes that markets do go up in the future, and we know that over time that they do. It's just that volatility that happens in periods of uncertainty that cause some concern about things going up. But the key to this is that we want to make sure that if we agree that inflation is going to decrease the value of the dollar, then we need to make sure that our investments keep up with some safeguard against inflation. Traditionally, that's been done through stock and equities investing.
Right.
Okay. Now, if you're retirement minded, you want to do it a little bit less volatile than that and a little bit safer than that. And insurance companies offer that opportunity.
Rick, always good to see you, sir. For more information on the topics and the products and strategies we've talked about this morning, 843-735-5065, the number to call. Rick, we'll see you back here next Saturday at 9 o'clock, sir.
Thank you, Shane, and thank you for listening to Retire Right with Rick Durkee.